A half-eaten salami sandwich, thrown into a Belgian wood, brought down the most perfect heist ever pulled. 2 nights earlier, thieves had emptied a diamond vault that the entire industry believed couldn't be opened. A 3-ton door. A lock with 100 million combinations, and not one alarm ever went off. So how does a crime that flawless end in a rubbish bag beside a motorway? Stay with me. Antwerp's Diamond District is a handful of short streets where most of the world's rough diamonds change hands. Traders walk those streets with fortunes folded into paper packets, tucked in a coat pocket, past ordinary cafes. At the center stands the Antwerp Diamond Centre, and 2 floors below the pavement, its vault. To get in, you pass a steel door weighing 3 tons, taller than the man opening it. The lock has 4 dials, giving 100 million combinations. Guessing isn't a plan, it's a pastime. Behind that door sits a second gate of steel bars, with its own separate lock and key. And the room beyond is watched by sensors that don't care how clever you think you're. Infrared, waiting for the warmth of a body to bloom against a cold room in the dark. A seismic sensor bolted into the structure, listening for the shudder of a drill bit. A magnetic field held across the door, which breaks the instant that door starts to swing. Doppler radar, sweeping the vault for movement, the way a supermarket door notices you approaching. And a light detector, so even switching on a torch would be enough to end your night. Above all of it, private security, corridor cameras, and an electronic log of every door anyone opens. Traders trusted it so completely that some of them never bothered ensuring what they left down there. On the morning of February 17, 2003, staff opened the vault and found it gutted. 123 safe deposit boxes ripped open, diamonds, gold and cash all gone. Estimates of the haul start above $100 million. Nobody has ever known the true figure. Nobody heard a thing. No alarm, no broken glass, no scorch marks, no hole in any wall. It didn't look robbed. It looked like somebody with permission had quietly emptied the place overnight. The man behind it had been inside that building for over 2 years, completely legally. Leonardo Notarbartolo. A jeweler from Turin, good coat, real business cards, a handshake for everyone. In 2000, he rented a small office in the Diamond Centre, 3 floors above the vault. He paid his rent on time. He showed up. He learned the guards' names and used them. He rented a safe deposit box downstairs, which handed him a key and a reason to visit. For 2 years he was simply another tenant. Nobody could have picked out of a lineup. He's the neighbor whose face you'd know anywhere, but whose name you've never once managed to keep. That was the disguise. Not a mask, a routine so dull that nobody thought to examine it. And the whole time he was being boring, he was measuring the building down to the centimeter. He carried a pen with a camera hidden inside it, small enough to sit in a pocket. Every trip to his box he filmed the vault. The locks, the ceiling, the sensors, the walls. In Italy, a team went through that footage frame by frame, arguing about every screw and bracket. Then they built a full-size copy of the vault door in a warehouse, and practiced on it. Here's the part that sounds invented. They needed the door's combination, so they simply filmed somebody entering it. They hid a small camera above the vault door, tucked inside the housing of a fire detector. It fed a recorder they'd concealed inside a fire extinguisher, standing in the same corridor. Week after week, that camera watched the vault manager's fingers turning the dials, one number at a time. 100 million combinations, defeated by the oldest method, theirs, standing behind someone and looking. But the door also needed a long steel key, and the staff kept that one close. So they searched the building. And they found the spare hanging in an unlocked storeroom down the hall. The most protected vault on earth, and its spare key lived in a cupboard next to the brooms. That's the shape of this whole story. Strong systems don't fail in the middle. They fail at the edges. If that just reframed something for you, that's exactly what this channel is for. Stick around. They photographed the key, cut a copy, and tested it on their practice door back in Italy. The date they chose was the weekend of February 15, 2003. The district was half empty. They came in from the back, over a garden wall, into a building with almost nobody in it. First obstacle, a heat and motion detector covering the corridor outside the vault door. It would catch them the moment they came around the corner, long before they touched anything. So one of them reached it from the one angle it couldn't see, and sprayed it with hairspray. A thin film of lacquer over the lens. The sensor stayed powered and stayed completely blind. Next, the magnetic alarm. 2 plates, one on the door, one on the frame, a field between them. Open the door, the field breaks, the alarm screams. Straightforward, and very hard to argue with. So they didn't argue. They unscrewed both plates and held them together face to face as one. For hours afterwards that alarm sat there, contentedly sensing a closed door that was standing wide open. The combination they already had. The key they already had. The door swung, and nothing happened. Inside waited the light detector, The one that fires if anyone so much as flicks a switch. They covered it before the first real light reached the room, then worked by a single shielded torch. The seismic sensor never stirred, for the simple reason that nobody drilled, cut, or hammered anything. That's the signature of the whole job. No explosives, no torch, no noise, no violence at all. Every layer of that vault was designed to stop force. They never brought any force to stop. Then came the tedious part, 189 metal box fronts, each with its own lock. They'd made a tool for that too. A simple lever that popped the fronts off like tin lids. Roughly 10 seconds a box. A hand goes in, the contents come out, move to the next. They worked all night, sorting as they went. Paper packets of stones, gold, bundled currency, jewelry. They left more than 60 boxes untouched. They ran out of darkness, not out of nerve. Then they refitted the plates, closed the 3-ton door behind them, and drove south towards Italy. For about 30 hours they had committed a perfect crime. Then one man got tired of carrying rubbish. Because there was one job left, and it was supposed to be the easiest one of all. Burn the bags. Wrappers, tape, gloves, envelopes, receipts, 2 years of preparation reduced to household waste. Notar Bartolo says he handed those bags over with a single instruction: destroy every last piece of it. Instead, on the motorway out of Antwerp, the man carrying them got nervous and started throwing them away. Out of a moving car, into a thin strip of trees at the edge of a field. The kind of roadside wood where people dump things constantly and absolutely nothing ever comes of it. Except that strip of trees had an owner, and the owner is where this story turns. August Van Camp. A retired grocer who lived beside the wood and walked it with his dogs. Van Camp had one great enemy in life, and it wasn't organized crime, it was litterers. People had been dumping bags on his land for years, and he had made it deeply personal. He patrolled the tree line. He noted number plates. He phoned police about other people's household rubbish. You have met this man. He's the one who comes out when your bin lid is left open. On the 17th he found fresh bags among his trees, and did what he always did: he opened them. Inside were envelopes printed with the name of the Antwerp Diamond Centre, 2 days after the theft. And the little folded paper sleeves that diamonds travel in. Dozens of them, every one of them empty. He called the police. At that hour, they had no suspects and no idea how the vault opened. The bags also held receipts, tape, wrapping, and the remains of a half-eaten salami sandwich. The sandwich carried DNA. The DNA matched a tenant whose office sat 3 floors above the vault. The receipts pointed to the surveillance equipment. The equipment pointed back to the men who bought it. Notar Bartolo was arrested within days, and eventually sentenced to 10 years in a Belgian prison. Several of the crew went down with him. The diamonds, though, never came back at all. Not one confirmed stone from that vault has ever been recovered. It's all still out there somewhere. Look at the arithmetic. 2 years of surveillance, undone by 90 careless seconds on a motorway verge. Every sensor in that vault was built to beat a professional, and every one of them was beaten. What actually stopped them was a man who couldn't stand the sight of litter in his trees. Here's the part worth keeping. Things almost never break where you're watching. They break where nobody's been assigned. The spare key by the brooms. The bag in the boot. The step everyone assumed was somebody else's. 100 million combinations couldn't stop them. One irritable man with 2 dogs and a bin bag did. Subscribe if you want the next one told properly: Hatton Garden, a crew of pensioners, and the van that betrayed them. The people who lost those boxes never got them back. Cases like this deserve to be remembered.